All right, today we're going to be working through a sample set of data to go along with the Hydrate lab that we do here at Richardson High School. So follow along. I would recommend having a calculator with you so that as I do the calculations, you can see what's happening. So this is the data that you would measure in the lab. We've got the empty test tube and the test tube with the sample. So we're trying to find the mass of the sample before heating. Well, you've got the test tube over the Bunsen burner, holding it with the tongs. And then for our first sample, it was a blue solid down there at the bottom. And when we heated it, that blue sample turned white. Now we also measured the whole sample before heating it, and that included the test tube and the sample. So if we want the mass of just the sample, we're going to take that total mass and subtract out that test tube, which was 32.33. So we're going to grab our calculators and we're going to do the test tube with the sample, 34.04 grams minus 32.33 grams to get just the sample before we heated it. It's still blue. And we're going to calculate it and we get 1.71 grams. So we're going to put that in our data table. And again, that was the mass of just that blue sample. All right. Next up, we're going to consider the sample after we heated it. So after we heated it, we took the mass again, and we had the sample after heating still in the test tube. So here's our test tube again. But this time, the sample was now white. It had changed. It had lost its water. And so we had the total after heating for us. That was 33.53 grams. And then we also had the mass of the test tube. That didn't change. That's still 32.33 grams. So we're going to subtract the test tube out. So 33.53 grams minus 32.33 grams to get just the sample after heating. So we get 1.2 grams. So that's just the sample in the test tube after we heated it. This is great because we can see that it went from 1.71 gram sample down to 1.2. It lost mass because it lost the water vapor. All right, so next we want to find out the grams of water that was in the sample. Well, this is what it lost when we heated it. So we're going to consider the sample before and the sample after, because the H2O is the only change that happened. That water vapor left, and so we can subtract to find out how much water vapor left when it became white. So we're going to do the mass of the sample before we heated it, which was 1.71 grams, minus the sample after we heated it when it lost the water, which was 1.2 grams, and the difference there when we subtract is 0.51 grams. So that's the mass of water that left the hydrate. All right, our final task is going to be to find the percent water in the sample. We're going to remember that percent anything is part over whole or part over total times 100. So we're finding the percent water in the original sample. So that's going to be the mass of the water over the original sample, and that's the sample before heating, times 100. So the water that left, I actually think I made a mistake here. It's not 1.2 grams, no. It is 0.51 grams, that's the mass of our water, divided by the total sample before heating, which was 1.71 grams, times 100. And we calculate, make sure you're calculating along with me, with my data or with yours. In my data, I got 29.82% water in the original sample. So that is our percentage. That's going to go right there, 29.82%. And that's it. That's our ultimate goal. We're trying to find that number. On the anhydrate, it should end up being very close to 0 because anhydrate means does not contain water. Make sure you're also including your observations. That's going to include maybe a color change on some of the experiments that we did. Maybe you saw water vapor being released, steam. Maybe you saw water droplets. Lots of possibilities. I hope this was helpful. Please let us know if you still have questions, and good luck.